Napoleon Bonaparte. The man who would crown himself emperor, reshape Europe, and leave a legacy still debated today. But before he rose to glory, Napoleon launched a campaign that few people know about. A campaign far from the fields of Europe, deep in the sands of Egypt. This is the story of Napoleon's Egyptian adventure, a war of ambition and desperation, a tale of science and discovery, and ultimately, one of history's most ironic failures. It was the summer of 1798. France was locked in a bitter struggle with Great Britain. Napoleon had a bold idea. Instead of striking Britain at home, he would attack their empire where it was weakest, by cutting off their trade route to India. To do this, he set his sights on Egypt. If France controlled the Nile, Britain's empire could be strangled. Napoleon presented himself not as a conqueror, but as a liberator, claiming he would free the Egyptian people from the rule of the Mamluks. It was a daring plan, and one that would change his destiny forever. While Napoleon marched across the desert, danger crept in from the sea. The British Navy, led by Admiral Nelson, tracked the French fleet to Aboukir Bay. On the night of August 1, 1798, the Battle of the Nile began. Nelson's ships struck with devastating precision. By the next morning, the French fleet lay in ruins. Napoleon and his entire army were stranded in Egypt, cut off from France, cut off from supplies, and surrounded by enemies. The sands of Egypt had become a prison. But Napoleon had not come to Egypt with soldiers alone. He had brought with him more than 150 of France's greatest minds, scientists, engineers, artists, and scholars. As battles raged, they studied the land. They measured the Nile, catalogued new plants and animals, and sketched the great ruins of ancient Egypt. In 1799, French soldiers uncovered something extraordinary, a black stone slab inscribed in 3 scripts, Greek Demotic and ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. The Rosetta Stone. This discovery would one day unlock the secrets of the pharaohs, allowing scholars to finally read the lost language of ancient Egypt. Though Napoleon's army was trapped, his scientists were writing history. But life in Egypt was brutal for the French army. The people of Cairo rose up against them in rebellion. The Ottoman Empire prepared to strike back. In 1799, Napoleon's forces clashed with the Ottomans at the Battle of Aboukir, narrowly securing victory. Yet even victory brought little relief. Disease swept through the camps. Plague and dysentery killed more soldiers than enemy bullets. Morale collapsed. Napoleon's dream of empire in the East was slowly crumbling. Then, in a shocking move, Napoleon abandoned his men. In August 1799, he slipped away, sailing back to France. He left behind an army starving, sick, and hopeless. 2 years later, in 1801, those soldiers would surrender to the British and the Ottomans.
But Napoleon?
He returned to Paris as if nothing had happened. Through clever propaganda, he painted himself not as a defeated general but as a returning hero. Within months, he staged a coup, the famous 18th Brumaire, and rose to power as first consul of France. The failure in Egypt became the foundation of his rise. So what did Napoleon truly gain from Egypt? Militarily, the campaign was a disaster. His fleet destroyed, his army abandoned. But scientifically, it was a triumph. The scholars he brought laid the foundation of modern Egyptology. Their great work, the Description de l'Égypte, opened Europe's eyes to the wonders of ancient civilization. Politically, the campaign showed Napoleon's genius for turning defeat into opportunity. From the ashes of failure, he built the image of a leader destined to rule. Napoleon's Egyptian campaign was a story of extremes, a glorious victory at the pyramids, a crushing disaster at the Nile, a flood of knowledge that reshaped history, and a betrayal that propelled him to ultimate power. It was a war that ended in defeat, yet paved the way for an empire. If you enjoyed this forgotten chapter of Napoleon's life, make sure to subscribe for more untold stories of history, and tell me in the comments which hidden moment you want to explore next.